What I've learned in 60 years, where should $10,000 go? Let me ask you something. Have you ever spent money you saved for months, faster than you could believe? You reached that milestone, felt proud of yourself, then looked up and saw your account back at zero. A car repair, some furniture, maybe a small vacation. And all that hard-earned money vanished as if it never existed. Or maybe right now, you have $10,000 sitting in your account and you're asking, what do I do with this? It's just sitting there while you try to figure out your next move. The biggest mistake: spending to celebrate. My friends, this is how human psychology works. You sacrificed for months, cooked at home instead of eating out, didn't buy that new phone. Finally, you saw a 5-figure number in your account. Your brain immediately kicks in. You earned this. Treat yourself. Live a little. And just like that, the money is gone. A slightly nicer car, a small home renovation, a vacation you convinced yourself you deserved. 6 months later, you're back at zero. And there's a strange emptiness inside you, because all that sacrifice feels like it amounted to nothing. I've watched this cycle play out for years. Young people save, spend, save again, spend again. And they ask, why can't I ever seem to get ahead? The answer is simple, but painful. As long as money is visible, your mind will always find a reason to spend it. $10,000 is both a lot and nothing at the same time. Why? About 40% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency without going into debt. So reaching $10,000 is a real accomplishment. Be proud of yourself. You earned it. But this money is not wealth. It is the foundation you build wealth upon. It won't cover your retirement. It won't buy a house in most cities. If you lost your job, it would barely carry you a few months. $10,000 is the ground you build on. And whether you keep that ground solid or let it crumble is entirely up to you. As long as the money sits visible, it will slowly disappear. Beautiful children, let me now tell you the real story of what happens to most people. A man reaches $10,000. The money sits in his checking account because that's where he's been saving it. He sees that 5-figure number every day, and it feels amazing. But here's the thing. That money is sitting in the same place as his everyday spending money. His mind doesn't separate them. Slowly, he starts spending a little more freely. He goes to that restaurant he used to walk past. He finally buys the jacket he's been eyeing. He upgrades his phone. Each one feels reasonable. Down to $9,000. I'll make it up when the paycheck comes. He tells himself. $8,000. I'll be more careful next month. $7,000. Right then the car breaks down. $2,000 to fix. Down to $5,000. His morale collapses. I saved for months and destroyed it in a few weeks, he thinks. And often, from that point on, his belief in saving itself starts to shake. This is the cycle that keeps people poor forever. Save, erode, start over. Real wealth never gets built. Split the money today. Now let me tell you what people who actually build wealth do differently. And it's going to sound almost too simple to matter. But I promise you, the difference is hidden right inside that simplicity. The day you reach $10,000, split that money into different places. Not tomorrow, not this week. That day. First step, $3,000 to $5,000 into an emergency fund. Move this money into a separate high-yield savings account. A different bank is even better. Somewhere slightly harder to access. Why? Because easy access means easy spending. Put a little distance between yourself and your money. Call this account your emergency fund and save it for real emergencies. Job loss, A serious health crisis, your car completely breaking down, I want to go on vacation but I don't have money, is not an emergency. My friends are going, and I want to go too, is not an emergency. Real situations that genuinely disrupt your life, those are what this is for. So why not put all 10,000 here? Because a savings account protects your money, but doesn't grow it. 1%, maybe 2% interest. Barely keeping up with inflation. The money is safe, but it's standing still. That's why you only put in 3,000 to 5,000. Enough to cover most single emergencies without locking all your money in a low-growth account. Second step, invest the remaining $5,000 to $7,000. After setting aside the emergency fund, the rest of your money needs to start working. Put it in a Roth IRA or broad market index funds. Not individual stocks you picked because you read something online. Not cryptocurrency because a friend told you it's going to moon. Boring, unexciting broad market index funds that track the entire market. And then don't touch them. My friends, investing is not a get-rich-quick game. Investing is putting your money somewhere it can grow faster than inflation, and then getting on with your life. At an average annual return of 7 to 8%, $5,000 could grow to around $7,000 in 5 years, $10,000 in 10 years, and more than $20,000 in 20 years. Without you doing a single thing. You just leave it alone and let compound growth do the rest. But know this, the money will sometimes go down. Markets rise and fall. Don't panic and sell. The long view is what matters. Why is a Roth IRA so important? Beautiful children, let me now tell you something that most people go through life never being told. Where you invest matters just as much as how much you invest. If you invest in a regular brokerage account, you'll pay taxes on your gains. Not terrible, but not optimal either. With a Roth IRA, you invest money you've already paid taxes on. And no matter how much that money grows, you never pay taxes on it again. You put in $5,000 today, and in 20 years it becomes $50,000. That $45,000 gain, zero taxes. In a regular account, you'd pay 15 to 20% on those gains. That difference adds up to tens of thousands of dollars. Just because you chose the right account. The annual contribution limit is usually around $6,000 to $7,000. So from your $10,000 in savings, you can nearly max out your Roth IRA contribution for the year and put the rest into your emergency fund. That is strategic thinking, and nobody teaches this in school. Automate the system. My friends, let me be clear about something. Motivation is an unreliable friend. You can say, from now on, I'll be more careful every morning. But when life gets hard or something looks very tempting, motivation disappears. I've seen it happen. Everyone goes through it. Trust the system, not the motivation. Set up automatic transfers the moment your paycheck arrives. $150 per paycheck to the emergency fund. $200 to the investment account. The numbers will vary based on your income and expenses, but the principle is the same. Money comes in, a portion automatically goes out, and you live on the rest. You don't have to make a decision. The system decides for you. Without this automatic system, every month you'll say, I'll invest a little more this month, and somehow it never happens. But when it's automatic, without even noticing, a serious amount of wealth quietly builds over the years. Don't use your $10,000 as a down payment. Beautiful children, I need to warn you about a trap I see far too often. A person reaches $10,000 and thinks, I want to buy a house. This could be my down payment. Or, I'll get a better car. $10,000 is a great start. Let me ask you this. What happens if you spend all $10,000 on a down payment? You're back to zero. And now you also have a monthly payment. What if the car breaks down? What if a health issue comes up? No emergency fund, no cushion. Everything goes onto the credit card. People who truly build wealth wait. They reach 20,000, then 30, then 50. Then they buy a house with 20% down. Their emergency fund is still intact. The monthly payments don't squeeze their budget. They move from a position of strength, not weakness. I know. You're impatient. You want the house now, the car now. I understand that. But wealth requires patience. People who stay poor look at $10,000 and ask, "What can I buy with this right now?" People who build wealth ask, "What could this become in 10 years?" That difference in perspective changes everything. Understand the difference between saving and investing. My friends, most people use these two ideas interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. Saving is for security, the emergency fund, the high-yield savings account. The money sits there, providing minimal protection against inflation. Money you can touch, money you can withdraw when you need it. Investing is for growth. Index funds, the Roth IRA. The money fluctuates, sometimes drops, but over the long term grows far above inflation. This money is for 10, 20, 30 years from now. You need both. If you only save, your money is protected but never truly grows. If you only invest, you may have to liquidate your investments early in an emergency, paying both taxes and potential losses. When you set up both together, you're protected in the short term and growing in the long term. A final word. I've spent 60 years working, saving, running my factory, and watching the people around me. The difference between those who build wealth and those who stay stuck in the same place rarely comes down to intelligence. It almost always comes down to a few critical decisions. When you reach $10,000, split the money, set up the emergency fund, start investing, automate the system, and don't rush into big purchases before you're truly ready. Do this, and 10 years from now you'll look back on this moment as the real turning point of your life. Don't do it, and 10 years from now you'll still be trying to save your first $10,000, wondering why it feels so hard. The choice is yours, and in truth, you're making that choice right now as you read these very words. Stay well, with love and hope, my beautiful children. Logan.